This third round has been a major stumbling block for the Dons, though. As we have a look at Igor Bišćan's side, he makes 2 changes from their weekend win over Slaven Bulepo at the weekend. Capan makes his first start of the season, and Ghanaian right winger Maxwell Acosty also comes into the side. Zoran Kvržić gave Rijeka hope at Pataudry 4 years ago. And he made it 2-0 on the night, but Dons fought back to relieve the scare. The officials are from Spain. Ricardo de Burgos is in charge of this one. Interesting Aberdeen lineup that faces, because there's been so much speculation over the future of Scott McKenna, but he remains an Aberdeen player this evening and starts at centre-back tonight. There are 2 alterations from Saturday as Derek McInnes reverts to the 11 that blew Chikura away. So Niall McGinn and Ryan Hedges return. The Welshman, of course, came off the bench against Hearts to net the winner after an assist from McGinn. And it was the Northern Irishman who scored against Rijeka on that famous night 4 years ago in this city. Well, Sam Cosgrove has been in lethal form this season. 8 goals in just 5 games so far, and we've also caught the sighting of Zach Weiner, who was only signed today on loan from Bristol City. The 22-year-old has made the flight out to Croatia and takes his place amongst the substitutes. It's a 6th straight season in this competition as Derek McInnes looks to guide his side to the group stages for the first time. The playoffs would represent an achievement too, with either AEK Larnaca or Ghent lying in wait for the winners of this tie. Rijeka currently playing in their temporary home, while their Stadion Kandrita Stadium is rebuilt and modernised, so it's a new venue for Aberdeen tonight. No less intimidating, though, in terms of the results that they get on home soil. It's Aberdeen who get the game underway against Croatia's 2nd best team currently. They can be a formidable side on their own patch. Niall McGinn denied a free kick there that he was looking for, hoping for. And Scott McKenna, he'll enjoy the physical tussle against Antonio Čolak, who was Rijeka's main summer signing, arriving from Hoffenheim in Germany for just under €1 million. Rijeka have started the season very well indeed, 3 wins out of 3 to commence their league campaign as they look to wrestle the title back from Dinamo Zagreb. These two have been the sides fighting it out for the last good few years at the top of Croatia's top division. And an early corner for Igor Bišćan's side, the former Liverpool player.
And I think Aberdeen would have expected a strong start from the home side. You get that mentality in Europe, you want to start, you want to get the fans behind you. So from an Aberdeen perspective, stay strong, defend well, and don't give any encouragement to your opponents whatsoever.
Tibor Halilović will take this corner, out-footed and out-swinger, and coming in was Roberto Punčec.
Aberdeen are traditionally strong defensively from set plays. Plenty of competitors, plenty of height. Shot, but not on target. But for Aberdeen, it's about settling into the game, getting the foothold, everyone getting the feel for the ball. And you can hear the noisy atmosphere. Try and take the sting out of the game as much as you possibly can.
and they know that they'll come under pressure. But how much of a boost with the English transfer window having come to a close, that Scott McKenna is available and in the lineup after having handed in the transfer request earlier on in this week. The move has not gone through after Aberdeen rejected that, and they never got a bid of his valuation. How important is it that he is in that lineup?
Well, it's a huge distraction for Aberdeen, a really untimely distraction. Scott McKenna being linked, the transfer request going in. But thankfully for Aberdeen fans and for Scottish football, I have to say, he's playing tonight. And I think he's strong enough as a character to cope with what's going on.
There's Acosty. It was blocked off by Logan. He took a sore one to the head. Full force from Maxwell Acosty. And he'll now be able to receive treatment. But he took that flush from the Ghanaian. It was really the timing of the bids. QPR, Sheffield Wednesday, Nottingham Forest were all interested in McKenna, and it was the timing that frustrated and actually angered Derek McInnes.
He felt his club were being treated with contempt by these clubs, Rory. He said the clubs making the bids have had all summer, yet they leave it until 2 or 3 days before the end of the transfer window. I think traditionally English clubs at times have maybe bullied Scottish clubs into having to sell their assets. Well, Scott McKenna's on a contract. The 2023, Aberdeen are backed by wealthy owners. They've said, no, he's staying. Big game tonight. And I'm glad to see him out there in the red.
Well, it's less than a year ago that Scott McKenna signed that contract. Andre Prskalo is in goals for Rijeka. Goes Funso Ojo. One of 9 new signings for the Dons this summer. They did lose a couple of key players in Gary Mackay-Steven and Graham Shinney, but the recruitment drive has been very good from Derek McInnes, bolstering the squad.
Yeah, you have to say it's still work in progress. You know, the fact that they're playing competitive games in Europe so early, they're winning games. Beat Hearts at the weekend in the Scottish Premiership opener. For them to be doing as well as what they are in such a short space of time, it's credit to Derek McInnes and his coaching staff.
And he certainly found his striker in Sam Cosgrove. And his presence enough just to force Aberdeen up the field here. Ferguson. Greg Leigh, another of the summer arrivals. Ferguson battles away as well. Going against Ojo.
You know, sometimes you go away from home in European competitions. You can be intimidated by the atmosphere. I think it is a free kick, no doubt. Ojo following through, but you got to remember, some of these Aberdeen players, if not a lot of them, played last year against Burnley, English Premier League team, away from home, so tonight won't faze them. You just have to make sure when they get a chance to keep hold of the ball, make some passes, and when your opportunities come along, you've got to be clinical.
And last season was the only time that they hadn't made the third round of qualification. That said, a particularly nasty draw with Burnley last season. Probably the last name Derek McInnes would have wanted to see come out the hat. Fell at this stage too. Surprise defeat on home turf to Sarpsborg of Norway in the third round. McKenna attacking that one from the back.
Even looking at Aberdeen's record this season, Rory, you know, both away games in the Europa League so far, they've conceded the first goal. Up in Finland against Rops, Jakura as well. You know, Derek McInnes will have drilled home, don't give yourselves a mountain to climb. Let's us get the first goal and let's see what they've got tonight. But definitely, no doubt about it, a step up in class. It'll be interesting to see over the two legs how Aberdeen cope. Because so far this season, they've looked a very competitive side.
Yeah, in the end, in both ties, they've gone through with ease. But really, concessions, particularly up in Lapland when the game was only a minute old. Coming in from Capan Lončar. Goal score at the weekend as they defeated Slaven Belupo 3-1.
Just a picture of Igor Bišćan. It was interesting, Derek McInnes said in his press conference, I don't know an awful lot about him as a manager, but thankfully he's not playing tonight for Rijeka because he was a very good player.
Spent 5 years at Liverpool, Mr. Versatile as well. He was actually cup-tied in his first season, so wasn't there for their UEFA Cup winning campaign, but did lift the Champions League in 2005 and he was sub in the final against AC Milan.
That's good from Sam Cosgrove, using his body, protecting the ball, winning himself a free kick. And you think of Cosgrove himself, Andrew Considine, Scott McKenna, really aggressive in the air. And Ryan Hedges, we've watched him often enough this season already, got an excellent delivery. Can he put the ball right on the money and give his attacking players something to go and get after?
The Welshman signed from Barnsley. He's made a great start to life as a Don, but it's McGinn that takes it. Well won by Cosgrove, and a really important bit of defending by Acosty. It gets Rijeka out of a very dangerous situation. And a push from McKenna will allow them to fully clear their lines now.
I think that's a chance. You know, we expected Hedges to take a free kick. It was Niall McGinn. I think Scott McKenna had hands in his head, but it was a free kick on the back of Acosty. I think it might have been Lewis Ferguson in the box looking for the knockdown. Didn't anticipate it well enough. But that should certainly give Aberdeen plenty of heart. They're stronger physically than what Rijeka are from set plays. They have to make it count.
That'll be a good boost for Sam Cosgrove winning that header, showing that he can have the better of his marker. It was Dario Župarić sending the ball up the line. John Gallagher, no joy for the man from Dundalk, known from Atlanta United in the States.
He's got endless energy, Rory, you know, and I like the fact that Derek McInnes is playing him in behind Sam Cosgrove. This is the free kick. See, I think it's Lewis Ferguson top of the picture. He's in behind Acosty. Can he get across the front of him? He's got to anticipate that Sam Cosgrove will win the header, gamble a little bit. As I said, certainly give Aberdeen plenty of heart. I was just talking about Gallagher, just the fact that he's playing him in behind. He's got boundless energy, particularly away from home, when you need someone to get in touch with Cosgrove. You need someone to go beyond him. Gallagher, plenty of energy. And he's also got a willingness to go in behind, which a lot of midfield players nowadays don't seem to have.
And Derek McInnes, obviously a fan. He starts for the 6th game out of 6. So the winner goes to either Cyprus or Belgium. They finished 1-1 in Larnaca between HNK and Ghent this evening. One well poised, but the Belgians are the favourites to go through. Leigh into Gallagher.
I think Derek McInnes can be delighted with the start that the side have made. Looking very assured, looking comfortable. Quite happy to spend time in the ball.
Hedges just losing his footing a little and forced into making the foul.
He gets a little bit unfortunate, doesn't he? Stands on the ball, and I actually think he does the right thing. He blocks the Lončar from getting the ball, stops the play, and allows Aberdeen to get the shape back.
Here's Župarić to Punčec. And flag up. Aberdeen have been pretty settled at the back so far as Ivan Tomečak tried to get in behind the defence. Good line from the back four.
You know, when you play in European competition, particularly away from home, you go in with a little bit of trepidation at times. You're not too sure how good the opposition are. You watch videos, you watch DVDs, you don't learn an awful lot from it. You just get their shape from it. So you have to trust Derek McInnes has to trust his players, Roy. They learn on the game. They adapt to the situation going and they show confidence and a belief. And they've certainly started in that mindset.
Capan trying to advance forward for Rijeka. It is a free kick to the hosts. Comes again to Capan. Forward to Lončar. Župarić. Trying to locate Acosty. Župarić with a strong header. Logan can clear. Halilović. Acosty rather. And down goes the Ghanaian. It's struck from range by Čolak.
Never really threatened Joe Lewis, did it? Good build-up play. Aberdeen have to expect. For spells tonight, they're not going to have the ball. It's all about keeping your shape, making sure everyone's organised. And if you can force the opposition, Čolak this time, from shooting from 20, 25 yards, you've got to be confident that Joe Lewis can cope with anything that comes his way. But good shape, good defensive organisation from Aberdeen.
Joe Lewis, of course, the new captain this season for the Dons after Graham Shinney's departure to Derby County. Acosty just took a knock in the process there, he's still down.
It's interesting on the captain's armband. Some people may have thought Scott McKenna may have been the natural successor to Graham Shinney, but I just wondered, was that transfer speculation lingering on through the summer, Rory, and he decided Joe Lewis signed a long-term deal. Looks like he'll be here for years to come, so that may have played a part in the decision.
It was given away by Ferguson first of all, and then Ojo took his eye off it. Lepinjica can now encourage Tomečak forward. They've not quite clicked in the final third yet. Aberdeen quite happy to soak up a bit of pressure. It's an opening quarter of an hour that has gone according to plan for Derek McInnes. One by Župarić. And Čolak sent forward with no help. Leigh to Lewis. Well experienced in these ties, Aberdeen. Acosty. Teed up for Lepinjica. Good feet from him. Halilović. Down he goes. He won't be getting the free kick that he wanted though. And Ferguson was caught late.
He certainly was. Aberdeen had surrounded Rijeka, forced them into giving the ball away. Ferguson was sharp to nick the ball, and there's no doubt it's a free kick, and a timely free kick at that, just stopped the momentum. There's no doubt it's a free kick. I think it's Capan that just comes in. catches Ferguson late. Again, takes a sting out of the game, lets Aberdeen settle themselves down because Rijeka were just building a little bit of momentum.
Got a good bit of bite in the middle, Aberdeen. Here's Ferguson. Certainly not shy of a tackle, and Fincho Ojo looks like he doesn't mind a confrontation or two. Hedges. Logan outside him, instead tries to play it into Gallagher, but Tomečak can bring it clear. Halilović finds Kvržić, and now Acosty. He's away from Leigh. It's very well played by the Ghanaian. He tries to feed it into Čolak. Well watched by Andrew Considine, who actually got the scoring started here almost 4 years ago. Header from the corner from him. It's given away fairly cheaply though by the Dons.
They're going to have to make a few more passes, Aberdeen. I think it was Cosgrove into Hedges. But there's the threat of Acosty. You know, Scott McKenna has to cover Leigh at every opportunity. When he's 1v1 in a wide area, McKenna has to close the gap to Leigh. So if Acosty does get past, he's there to make contact.
Kvržić into Halilović. And Tomečak well forward from left back. It's over the top of Čolak, and Leigh can just blast it clear. Sam Cosgrove, the lone figure in attack.
And there's no doubt Rijeka have wrestled the game into their favour. Plenty of possession, moving the ball. But for Aberdeen, it's be patient, keep your shape. Don't go chasing the ball on your own, or you'll get picked off.
He's an average crowd of just over 4,000. That's certainly, the gate is up on that figure this evening. The noise turned up. They know how important a game this is, and well, I guess there's still a bit of an overhang from the meeting 4 years ago. Andrew Considine, Shea Logan, Niall McGinn all started that night. Ash Taylor, the only other player still with Aberdeen.
Well, Igor Bišćan said ahead of the game he doesn't want any complacency. He thinks maybe the last time round Rijeka underestimated Aberdeen. He said his players certainly won't do that tonight.
At that stage they've been on such a long unbeaten run at home, with recording wins over the likes of Feyenoord, Standard Liège, Stuttgart, draws with Lyon, Betis and Sevilla. They were a formidable prospect. Aberdeen brought that to an end, and that season it was their only defeat at home. They've since beaten AC Milan here as well. Long from Lewis again. Cosgrove. And the defence were happy to let the ball bounce, but the flag goes up against the striker.
The pattern of the game in the last 5 minutes is probably what we expected. Rijeka trying to force the game, trying to take it through Aberdeen, being the home side. Aberdeen quite content at times to sit deep. Don't give them any space to play in. But they've got to be better when they win the ball. They've got to make 3 or 4 passes and allow themselves to relieve the pressure just a little bit more.
Čolak gets some help from Halilović. Now Acosty. Kvržić. Right back. Closed off in terms of space, but Leigh can't save the corner.
It's good play by Kvržić. Quite happy to go and join in the play. Traditionally, it's the wingers that force the fullbacks into defensive positions, but tonight, different set of rules for now and again. At times, you'll have to go back and defend deep and track Kvržić.
Halilović again to deliver the corner. A deep one. which Župarić couldn't manage to get anything on. And Gallagher putting pressure on. And it's Capan who knocks it out for the Aberdeen throw. Quarter of the game gone. Bišćan's side had the better of it, but with their cup chances so far. Aberdeen domestically are pretty good at absorbing pressure, not worrying too much about possession. There's a nasty head knock here. It's involving Ryan Hedges and Lepinjica.
You always worry about that type of one, Rory, because the ball's up in the air. Both players committed to going for the ball. Traditionally find as if there's going to be a clash, as you can see it happening, but credit to both players going for it, and hopefully they'll be okay.
The medical staff will take their time with this one.
I think Hedges may have come off worse. The fact that he gets to the ball, Lepinjica followed through onto him.
Well, he's made a really good impact, Ryan Hedges, since joining from Barnsley, and got his first goal at the weekend. Wonderful finish, lashed high into the net after a delightful touch from Niall McGinn. He said he came to Pittodrie to play in European competition. And hopefully he can recover from this, but it is a nasty one.
I think Lepinjica actually catches his jaw with his forehead. The ball may have hit Hedges in the back of the head, totally unaware where the ball was, but certainly would have felt the pain. But this Paul Sheeran, Tony Dockery, Derek McInnes, if they have to make a substitution, trying to work out who will move, keep the shape, but Hedges back to his feet. His fingers crossed he's okay to continue.
And James Wilson and Scott Wright, the two prominent attacking options, certainly for that area, on the bench. But Ryan Hedges making his case to the medical staff. And out of sight as both players accepting the situation. Ferguson into Ojo.
That's it. You know, they have to make passes, but they have to have a plan of what they're trying to do. Not possession for the sake of possession. There's another cheap giveaway again. Forcing the ball to Greg Leigh. It doesn't need to be forced. Keep it short, keep it sharp, work your way up the pitch. That side of the game has to be better.
Acosty into Kvržić. You can only find a Rijeka jersey. McKenna brave in the challenge there. And Considine has to be too. He's done well there up against Capan Lončar.
He does ever so well, Andrew Considine, doesn't he? Playing as a left back, a left centre half, a wing back at times, a right central defender tonight. Such versatility, and always produces the goods for Aberdeen.
Halilović blocked off first of all by Ferguson, but he's got it back again. And just too high over the top of Joe Lewis's goal. He always knew that one was rising over the top.
Again, comfortable in the end. It is smart play from Rijeka. They move the ball well on the edge of the box. Halilović gets a little bit of space. Joe Lewis quite happy to drop the hand, knows it's going high over the bar. And I said at the start, Aberdeen can restrict Rijeka to shooting from 20-25 yards, and that will please Derek McInnes.
Croatian Cup winners for the 5th time in their history last season, Rijeka, beating their big rivals Dinamo Zagreb with broken that big 2 in Croatia. Hajduk Split and Dinamo Zagreb. They've become the second force in the country.
Well, there's similar challenges to what Aberdeen faced in Scotland, trying to break the big 2. Happened a couple of years ago, last season didn't. But always on the lookout.
Yeah, Aberdeen have got used to finishing second for a good while. Cosgrove, good header looking for Hedges. It will drop for the Englishman again. And wrestled to the floor. There is a decision from the referee, but it is against the Aberdeen frontman. Župarić. Long diagonal ball. Looking for Tomečak, who's got in behind here. And can the fullback pick out a man? Andrew Considine. Important intervention. He had help from Joe Lewis behind him, but not willing to take any chances.
Well, that's the first time that Rijeka really get in behind Aberdeen. John Gallagher gets caught flat, but Andrew Considine, such an important role at the near post. Hold your position. You can't affect what's behind you. You've got to trust that your teammates mark their men. And Andrew Considine stays strong, stays in that position. Excellent defending, excellent positional sense.
Now getting some joy down that left-hand side through Tomečak, though. Halilović. Oh, and it missed everyone, and somehow fired wide. A top save from Lewis, but following up, Rijeka really should have made this 1-0.
Well, that's the first warning sign, isn't it, for Aberdeen? I think it's Sam Cosgrove switches off. It's Lepinjica that gets a shot off initially. Smart save by Lewis. And I think they can find themselves a little bit lucky, Aberdeen, still to be level in this game.
Župarić with the second follow-up. Lepinjica with the first effort. And the first scare for Aberdeen. It really should be 1-0 to the hosts. Niall McGinn now. Ferguson. Smart turn by Cosgrove, but no change out of the Spanish referee.
Yeah, you look at, when Aberdeen are at their best, the likes of Niall McGinn, Ryan Hedges, being in possession of the ball, driving forward, haven't really been involved in the game tonight. McGinn's had minimal touches. I think he's got to go looking for the ball. Aberdeen need him, particularly when you're sitting deep. You need someone to carry the ball up the pitch. And McGinn, the experienced Northern Ireland international, has to be that player.
Cosgrove again, the target for the throw. And McKenna will happily take the free kick. Logan to Hedges. The Welshman finds the Englishman. Logan's cross 4 years ago that set up a diving header from Peter Pollitt to make it 2-0 on the night. And the third came from Kenny McLean. And that was Ferguson. Looks long, and McGinn have taken up a really good position, just slightly ahead of him. Not a million miles away from connecting, though. Lepinjica now to Punčec. Lončar finds Tomečak. Župarić. Come through the first half hour with an intriguing tie. Halilović.
Yeah, both sides look quite evenly matched. Rijeka have probably just been better in possession than Aberdeen have, but doesn't look an awful lot between these two sides.
Acosty driving forward. Halilović, his pass goes astray though, and Hedges can only fire it up into unoccupied territory.
That's where they need to be better. Hedges just take a little bit of responsibility, whether you dribble with the ball or you make a simple pass, but you can't just keep kicking the ball out of play and giving up cheap possession. You end up defending so deep that you never get anywhere near the opponent's goal. So when you win the ball, take a little bit of responsibility.
Župarić with the long ball forward. Leigh can now take it clear. That's a lot of John Gallagher, but he will get there. Useful ball. McGinn. Good endeavour shown by Niall McGinn. He's met by a firm challenge though, and Rijeka can walk it out from the back.
He's let play go quite a lot. The referee, a Spanish referee, you tend to think any kind of contact, traditionally a free kick, but he's letting things go. Aberdeen feel a little bit unfortunate. A few occasions, Sam Cosgrove now and again feel as if they should have had free kicks. The refs played on.
Župarić to Acosty. Kvržić returns the ball for Acosty. Touch on its way through, and Gallagher can find Cosgrove, and surely now Aberdeen will get their free kick and release the pressure a little.
That's good from Aberdeen. It's a simple pass into Cosgrove. Wins the free kick, just relieves a little bit of pressure. Aberdeen have to show more quality than what they have so far in possession of the ball. They are better than what they've shown. Ojo has to spend time in the ball. Lewis Ferguson has to get on the ball, but in a positive manner. Don't just go for a touch, go and affect the game.
Just enjoying the spell with the ball at their feet. Aberdeen between Considine, Ojo, Ferguson and McKenna. Ferguson. And the press starts to come from Rijeka.
It's the next pass, Rory, where they've struggled. They can get it about the back and get it into midfield. It's getting it from midfield into the forward line with a little bit of quality. Another giveaway.
Picked off by Kvržić, and now Rijeka look to go. In comes Cosgrove with a sliding challenge. Čolak downed, and Gallagher's given it straight to Acosty. They need to remain calm in possession. Tomečak. Lepinjica. Capan, rather.
At times you just need to take a touch on the ball. Gallagher there could easily have controlled the ball and made a pass, but when you feel a little bit of pressure, you think you'll play everything first time. And you give the ball away more often playing first time than you do taking touches. Just as we see Acosty in the picture there in the background, I think he's their best player, Rory. He's the one player that has that little bit of magic that can pose Aberdeen problems. Leigh's done okay so far, defended well enough. He'll have to be on his toes throughout the rest of the game.
His trade in Italy, 6 years at Fiorentina. That's where Acosty. Hedges, he just couldn't quite keep it in play. Unfortunate. Gallagher, rather.
It's a better pass, though. Andrew Considine stepping in, making the pass. Gallagher, his first touch took it up into the air, but It's that pass into the final third that Aberdeen just need to improve on a little bit more. They allow McGinn, Hedges, Gallagher and Cosgrove to make a real impact in the offensive side of the game.
Punčec just allowed a bit of space to come forward. The reverse ball works out very nicely. Another good save from Joe Lewis, and the flag is up against Tomečak, who had the effort, denied by Lewis. Igor Bišćan's side, denied by the flag. Aberdeen survive again.
Joe Lewis had no idea he was offside. Beaten too easy in midfield. You can just see him, Tomečak. He's beyond Scott McKenna, an offside position. Another warning sign to Aberdeen: stay compact, don't allow teams to go through the middle of you. Force them down the outside, allow them to cross it if you have to, but that was a little bit easy. And a slight concern for McInnes.
Tomečak back now doing the defensive aspect of his game. And Čolak will have to chase this down into the corner for Joe Lewis to knock one up to halfway.
I think what will be quite warming for the Aberdeen players and management staff. Very good support they have behind that goal, Rory. Aberdeen fans traditionally, certainly in domestic football, travel well. When they get the opportunity in European football, they like to go and support the team. So that will have certainly encouraged them tonight when they come out for their warm-up. Credit to the Aberdeen fans again.
Well, a nice summer trip to the Balkans for the Dons fans, to Rijeka, and which will be the European capital of culture in 2020. From the midnight sun in Lapland to the Balkan heat of Rijeka. Still around about 26 degrees this evening. Considine. Here's Cosgrove. The pass picked off as he tried to pick out Gallagher. And now Rijeka can come forward with a bit of pace. Acosty. It was a good position for Aberdeen to be in. And Leigh got a decent touch on that as Acosty couldn't quite find Kvržić.
It's that final pass again. I think Cosgrove trying to force it out to McGinn. It was probably on just to move the ball on one more. It might have been also where Gallagher, Ojo and Gallagher, he could have just passed it on to, but taking a needless risk puts Aberdeen again in the back foot.
Aberdeen getting the support from their fans behind Joe Lewis's goal. Kvržić. Halilović. Leigh. I don't know what Sam Cosgrove can do with that.
It's been a recurring theme in the first half, hasn't it? Giving up cheap possession, not being able to make a pass under pressure. There's so many men behind the ball. Cosgrove at times is the lonely target, and it's difficult. You have to be precise when you play with one striker and you defend so deep. Aberdeen just struggled in that department.
It's encouraging the home crowd more and more because they feel that there's nothing to worry about going the other way. And Acosty gets the free kick from John Gallagher.
Well, you end up just encouraging your opponents. As we see Acosty, it was a clear foul by Gallagher. Kvržić is joining in. Tomečak is joining in as full-backs. It's forcing Aberdeen's wide players into a deep defensive position also.
Cosgrove took it down brilliantly on the chest, fended off his man Lepinjica, and quickly helped on by Ferguson to Hedges. Here's Gallagher now. And touch on the cross means it goes into the arms of Prskalo.
Excellent play by Sam Cosgrove. I think that's the part of his game, Roy, that's really improved over the past 6 or 7 months. Goals naturally give strikers confidence, but his hold-up play, his link-up play, that was smart play and allowed Aberdeen up the pitch.
on this ground that Croatia hosted England in the Nations League last year, finished 0-0. Aberdeen would quite like that sort of scoreline again, but Derek McInnes' sides have got a habit of scoring on their travels. Good record of picking up the away goals, and 10 of the 14 ties under the manager. They have managed to get a goal. 14 away ties, I should say.
That's a soft free kick. You know, I think Andrew Considine clearly plays the ball, doesn't follow through onto the player.
Acosty finds Kvržić. Župarić to Punčec. Lofted into the middle. No joy for Čolak, who's been a fairly quiet figure. He's the danger man.
He's got himself into a few offside positions. I mean, he's arguing with the official, but he's clearly offside. Very good line from Aberdeen. Leigh takes his line off Scott McKenna. Scott McKenna takes his line off Andrew Considine. So good structure to it. And Čolak clearly offside. Just touching on Derek McInnes and Aberdeen scoring in 10 of the 14 away ties. You know, that's good setup from Aberdeen. Good structure. So there'll be no panic from them that they haven't scored yet, that are Rijeka have had possession. Traditionally, they can score away from home, so that's certainly something to keep in mind.
A few good wins in their time as well in that process, the likes of Groningen and of course Rijeka, really the standout one. They know that if they can get teams back to Pittodrie, they've got a real chance. Cosgrove comes off the flank, trying to knock it in towards Hedges.
I think just in the last 5 minutes, Derek McInnes has tried to mix the side up. Now McGinn's gone from wide left to wide right. Hedges has gone in behind, and Gallagher's come onto this left-hand side. Just trying to get some rhythm into Aberdeen's play and putting players in different positions.
Ojo looked for Ferguson, but now breaking forward comes Capan and Lončar. Logan blocks it off as we approach the 45-minute mark. Two minutes to be added.
You know, imagine if Aberdeen can get in at 0-0, Derek McInnes will be reasonably pleased. The fact that the scoreline's 0-0, he'll know they can play better, they can be better in possession of the football. And I'm guessing that's the message he'll try and get across at half-time.
Tomečak, no joy with that. Games going on all around Europe in the Europa League, and Scottish interest with Rangers, who have gone 1-up just before the break in Denmark away to Midtjylland. Alfredo Morelos with the goal. Now Aberdeen would love to match that in the closing stages of this half, but really Andre Prskalo has had precious little to do in goals. With a couple of big saves, but he hasn't been overworked.
Well, that's what you base it on. You know, Joe Lewis had that save, just as Leigh. It's a clear foul from Acosty. No intention to play the ball. Takes Leigh out of the play. He had that one smart save from the corner kick at his near post. His other big save was offside anyway, but hasn't been that busy.
Again, Cosgrove winning the first header. They know they've got a big advantage there if they can get the service up to the big front man. The play will be stopped here. Antonio Čolak in some distress.
I think it's Scott McKenna. You know, there's not an awful lot. He may just give him a little pull down when he lands, but I don't think there's any need for the reaction as if he's been strangled. Scott McKenna wins the ball, no foul. Delighted to see the referee. Let's just wave play on.
And that is the half-time whistle blown by the Spanish official. And Antonio Čolak just making sure that he is aware of the attention from the Scotland international. But at the break in Rijeka, Aberdeen holding them out so far. At the break, it is HNK Rijeka 0, Aberdeen 0. So it looks like we're all set to go for the second 45 in this third round qualifier in the Europa League. Aberdeen easing past rocks of Finland and Chikura in the previous rounds. They know that this will be a much, much tougher task against the side that finished second in Croatia last year. It's been their regular position over the last good few seasons. Stephen Craigan alongside me. What would have been the main message, do you think, from Derek McInnes at the break?
Be braver in possession of the ball. Too often they've got it in the midfield area or the middle third of the pitch. They've give up cheap possession, and Rijeka have just kept coming and coming. So somewhere along the line, someone take a little bit of responsibility, make a simple pass, put 2 or 3 of those together, and suddenly you can progress yourself up the pitch. Defensively fine, but better with the ball.
Defensive structures have worked well. Joe Lewis not overly troubled. He did make a save from Lepinjica in the first half, and Župarić should have knocked in the rebound. Probably the main threat from Rijeka has come down that left-hand side. Ivan Tomečak from left back has been a danger. Here's Punčec, the centre-back, and you can see Sam Cosgrove having to go all the way back. It's launched from distance. No danger as Ivan Lepinjica fires it over the top, the Croatian under-21 international.
You know, that shows that Aberdeen are defending well, defending deep. They're not leaving any spaces. There was 2 or 3 shots in the first half from 20, 30 yards. And Lepinjica can shoot from there all day long. That will certainly suit Aberdeen and Derek McInnes.
They allow Leigh to win the header. Punčec ends it clear, and Rijeka making a bit of a meal of clearing their own lines. Funso Ojo. And McGinn was started the half out on the right-hand side.
He has to have more influence. You know, Derek McInnes will have said at half-time, try and get the ball to McGinn a little bit more now. You've got to go looking for it. You're the one player that can unlock the door for us. So get him in possession of the ball.
It's now with Hedges. He's playing a bit more centrally. A slight change in Aberdeen's setup. McGinn making good strides into Cosgrove. It's now with Capan. A loose one back from the midfielder.
Good play from Aberdeen. You know, you can hear Derek McInnes below us shouting to get the ball forward. Ball came to Logan, forward, play forward. Don't play negative passes. Simple ball down the side. Now McGinn in behind. At least a bit of a threat towards the Rijeka goalkeeper.
Ojo comes short for Leigh. 2 new signings. And McKenna. Again, Cosgrove. He's won the vast majority of the balls that have been flung up to him.
This is the time to press. Go on, everybody take a step forward. Force them to play a long ball, but you've got to win the scraps when they come out.
There's Maxwell Acosty. started the game well and then drifted out of it a little in that first half. Roberto Punčec. Luka Capan. And taking over Lepinjica. The young man who holds things together in the midfield. Well won back there by Leigh, and Ojo just taking his time, being careful with possession. Quite happy to take the pace out of the game, Aberdeen.
I think you still want to play with a purpose. You know, sideward passes, negative passes backwards. You still have to have someone at some stage to play that forward pass that can break a line in midfield and put you on the front foot.
Well, the pressure did come from Rijeka. Only option to send it long. And Župarić will happily come away with the ball. Kvržić. Halilović to Acosty. And squeezes it through the gap to Halilović. Might fancy this one, the midfielder. And then it's fired just wide as they show their teeth early on in the second half.
It's too easy, isn't it? I think it's Ojo and Greg Leigh get themselves in a muddle. Frees up. Halilović onto his left foot. He's probably always drifting away from goal, but that's that necessity. Staying compact, don't allow the opposition to play in between your lines. Scott McKenna does well to force him onto his weaker left foot. Closest Rijeka came in this second half. Another warning sign for Aberdeen.
The 19th European season for the Croatians. They have made the Europa League group stages in 3 of them. 2013, 2014 and 2017. They made very good accounts of themselves. From Halilović, who had that opportunities and the free kick too.
Certainly no way through. Sam Cosgrove and Hedges combining to stop Halilović.
Quickly taken. And fired well over the top by Antonio Čolak, who's a bit of a frustrating time up top for Rijeka.
It's probably been frustrating for both strikers of either side, hasn't it? Sam Cosgrove not had a lot of quality up to him to fight with, and Čolak hasn't really had much change out of Andrew Considine and Scott McKenna. They've marshalled him well. As said beforehand, he was the biggest threat. So far, so good in that front.
Well taken down by Cosgrove that time. Here's Ojo. Now can they keep possession in the Rijeka half, having to retreat backwards to McKenna and Considine. Logan. Again, they ask Cosgrove to fight the aerial battle. Good news for Rangers in Denmark. They're now 2-0 up against Midtjylland. Joe Revo the second for Steven Gerrard's side. Let's see if Aberdeen can make it a Scottish double in the Europa League. John Gallagher playing a little wider in this second half. Now, who did the pulling there?
I think you can tell by the noise of the crowd, they're not happy at all. They feel as if Gallagher made first contact, but that's terrific play. You know, you're defending deep. That's what I expect from Niall McGinn on the right-hand side as well. Take your team up the pitch. No doubt about it. He just skips round Kvržić, just pulls him down. A terrific play from John Gallagher, we mentioned before, but his energy and his willingness to carry the ball forward.
The first yellow card of the contest goes to Zoran Kvržić. Right back for Rijeka. Hedges can send that one. It does find Cosgrove, wouldn't quite break for him. McKenna. Now Niall McGinn. Space to measure one. And it was Andrew Considine trying to attack it at the back post, but just swinging away towards the goal line.
I think Derek McInnes is frustrated because now McGinn gets himself into a really good position, an excellent crossing angle. He just puts too much onto it. As you can see, Lewis Ferguson, Andrew Considine coming in at the back post. Better from McGinn.
Aberdeen would love a goal. Rangers have 3. Niko Katic has scored, and Rangers looking very good over in Denmark. Here's Ojo. One would be a great return for Aberdeen.
He may have just stood on the back of Čolak's ankle as he landed. Andrew Considine, certainly no intent. I think it's just his right foot that has felt a little bit of pain. But as I said, they've marshalled him very well. They've been strong in the air. They haven't given many opportunities to get shots off from goal. Long may that continue.
This time they can't find Cosgrove. And Lončar. To Capan.
There's a few murmurings among the home fans. Aberdeen frustrating them, they're making mistakes, they're giving up cheap possession. Or Rijeka. This is where Aberdeen have to try and capitalise.
And now an injection of a bit of pace from Gallagher to Leigh. Left by Hedges at the front post. Aberdeen just springing to life there. It's a good spell.
I think it's fair to say they've grown into the game since half-time. They've been better in possession. Rijeka seem to have run out of ideas. Aberdeen defensive structure a little bit better, and their forward-thinking players are playing more of a part in the game.
McInnes has said it would be about time that his side made it to group stages of this competition. They deserve it. Tough ties that you get in the qualifying stages, though.
I think it would be fair to say that it would be probably Derek's biggest achievement as a manager, Rory, if he managed to get to the Europa League group stages. He did win the League Cup with Aberdeen, I think, in 2015. But you know, they'll have to go through 4 difficult rounds in the summer, back early. I think he'd look at this upon his best achievement as a manager to date.
Halfway there, but it's the second half of the qualification campaign that is particularly tricky.
You know, the games have become more difficult. Derek's fully aware of that. He just hopes that his players can grow together, mature as a team, a new team, and he hopes they can get better as the games progress too.
There's Lepinjica. Quickly work down the right-hand side. Kvržić. Turned over by Joe Lewis, taking no chances with the ball in from the skipper.
He's certainly been willing to get forward, hasn't he? You know, you don't play as a number 7 as a full-back if you don't have a winger's instinct in you somewhere along the line, Rory. But yeah, willing to get down that right-hand side, put some crosses in. And Joe Lewis doing the sensible thing.
He did give his position on their website as either a right back or a left winger, so you can work that one out. Halilović sends it in, but Ojo repels the attack. Second chance though. Beats the first man, but Ryan Hedges well positioned.
I think he's been impressive as well. Halilović trying to start the play from midfield, taking responsibility in possession.
A small country, Croatia, but they do produce a fair level of absolutely top players. Kvržić. No way past Gallagher that time. And that one is straightforward for Lewis, but down goes Čolak, and he was being held. It was Capan actually with Logan, and it will be a penalty kick. I mean, it seems so needless. The ball was going towards Lewis. It really wasn't any danger whatsoever. But Aberdeen have been penalised here. On the hour mark, this is a blow.
Just keep an eye on Shea Logan. Listen, it's a penalty kick. Absolutely no doubt about it. Čolak is not going to get that ball. Shea Logan gets himself in a dreadful defensive position. It's such a cheap penalty kick to give away. And when Andrew Considine, he's exasperated, but when he sees it back, he will know Shea Logan has made a ridiculous decision. In a game where Aberdeen were comfortable, Rijeka looked as if they've run out of ideas. A needless tug of the jersey. I'm afraid that is a penalty kick.
And it will be Antonio Čolak on his 50th appearance for the club, back at Rijeka. Signed from Hoffenheim. It is Čolak. Beats Joe Lewis, and Rijeka have been looking for that goal for so long. They have it, and now it's up to Aberdeen to start the fight back.
Shea Logan knows himself. He knows he's responsible for the penalty kick. He can point the finger, he can blame other people. He's give Aberdeen an uphill task here tonight. This is a good finish from Čolak, going down the middle. Goalkeepers always like to try and make themselves big, shows composure. And now it's a turn of Aberdeen to show a little bit of composure. They are a goal down. Still a long way to go in this match as well as the tie. So regain your composure, settle yourself down. Make sure you don't concede a second goal quickly, Roy. That's always the cardinal sin when you concede a goal away from home in a European tie. Don't concede a quick second.
The first blow struck by Antonio Čolak and Rijeka. And it's an attacker coming in. Murić for Maxwell Acosty. Murić, formerly of Dinamo Zagreb and Ajax. The Ghanaian Acosty. Murić did start their recent league game, so maybe a bit of a surprise that he was left out. He's already got a couple of goals this season.
I think credit has to go to Greg Leigh. You know, marshalled him very well. They got a few glimpses in the first half, but as the game's gone on, drifted away from it. Greg Leigh stuck to his task.
Free kick. There's another card coming the way of Dario Župarić.
I think he leads with the studs. He may get the ball, but he goes through the back of John Gallagher. Župarić, you know, you can't do it nowadays, I'm afraid. You go to ground, you go through the player, get the ball, you run the risk of a yellow card. This is a good position for Aberdeen. Can they get the right delivery into the box?
I know that they've got the aerial advantage if McGinn can find a man. It goes all the way through. Again, Considine was looking at the back post, but nobody could get a touch on it. It's a really dangerous ball in from McGinn.
That's their best chance. I wonder, could they get the right delivery? And they have. Can Considine gamble a little bit earlier? I'm not so sure. You know, defenders don't have that instinct of getting the end of things. You can tell his face. Derek McInnes knows it. Flashed across the face of goal. And good to see Aberdeen responding in a positive manner.
Goal here, and they're flying in Denmark too. It's Midtjylland who've got a couple back. It's now 3-2 to Rangers there. And just a push from Lewis Ferguson, penalised. 1-0, far from a disaster for the Dons, but they will not want to concede a second. They know that if they can get Rijeka back to Pittodrie within touch, they will have a real chance in front of a big crowd in the northeast. Punčec finds Lončar. Considine fighting for every loose ball.
You know, when you go behind, it's always a little test of character for you. So Aberdeen have to show the right character. Derek McInnes will be interested to see how his players respond, but so far it's been positive.
Tomečak. Considine there for the loose ball. It did come the way of the substitute Murić. But the attack halted.
I think Considine just has to be careful, you know, leading with your studs. We watched Župarić get booked at the other end for leading with the studs. Just got to be careful, Andrew Considine. Fortunately, off Murić's hand.
Ojo to Ferguson. Now Cosgrove. Ferguson continuing his run. Cosgrove will happily accept the free kick. This is where Aberdeen have had their best moments.
Do you know, he's playing that lone striker role very well, Roy. I think that's a, you know, great maturity in the probably the past year. I watched him against Burnley last year. He looked a little bit naive, but he's winning free kicks. He's using his body. He's allowing his team to get up the pitch. You add in the goals, he's certainly becoming a more complete player, Sam Cosgrove.
It will be Ryan Hedges to take it. Comes off the Rijeka jersey, Greg Leigh. He's already opened his account. Able to turn that into a dangerous situation. And Tomečak can start to bring it clear, but given away. And McGinn now. Ferguson, and he won't catch that.
And we see it again. You know, it's absolutely needless. You know, Joe Lewis is not under any kind of pressure. The cross coming in is not going to affect the Aberdeen back line. For an experienced player of Shea Logan, he should not be doing that. There's no one else to blame but himself, unfortunately.
There's absolutely nothing there. The ball still goes into Joe Lewis's arms. Župarić this time with the header, but Hedges is there. And Leigh looks like he's got a bit more licence to go forward now, the left back. And one from NAC Breda. Hedges. Now Gallagher. And Ojo. McGinn. Just a bit behind Logan, but he turned well.
I just get the sense from Shea Logan that he knows he's done wrong. He knows he's got a little bit of making up to do. That might just help Aberdeen in an attacking sense, where he gambles a little bit more going forward and goes and joins in the play.
Here's Lewis Ferguson. Well, he did well initially to find the space to make the cross.
He's been quieter tonight, Lewis Ferguson. I think you may have mentioned it. 50th appearance tonight for Aberdeen. 19 years of age, got a big future ahead of him. Said he's enjoying being part of an Aberdeen side in Europe. He only played in 2 ties last year, but he said it feels like a proper European club, which is nice to hear.
Well, he made a big impression in that game against Burnley, got his first goal in spectacular fashion, and almost enough for the Dons to cause a major upset. There's Halilović trying to thread that through for Lončar. Logan covering well this time.
Good defending by Shea Logan, good covering. Tracking the run of Lončar. Just said here, matching the run. Sometimes players try and step up and play offside, but good defensive instinct. Animated Derek McInnes, I don't think we see him any other way. Rory kicks every ball, makes every tackle.
Gallagher's lost out there to Kvržić. Leigh funneling back in and helping out his winger, given away by Hedges, and Aberdeen maybe get away with that one a little.
You know, it's a position that Derek McInnes has found hard to fill at times. Yet Kvržić offside, but the more I see of Greg Leigh, the more I like the acquisition. You know, Graham Shinney was initially signed as a left back, ended up playing in midfield. Considine playing as a left back. He may just have solved his left back problem that has probably been a bugbear of his for the past 3 or 4 years.
It's just a loan signing. They did have a good one last year in Max Lowe, on loan from Derby County, but he's way back down there. Reports are to believe there was strong interest from Celtic in Max Lowe this morning. Capan infield to Lepinjica. Midfielder gets it back again. Čolak having to peel out wide, and McKenna can't save the corner. And this is where the pressure builds. Aberdeen already 1 down. Second could be really damaging. Change of taker as Murić sends it in. Great delivery. Lončar keeps it alive.
That was a tremendous ball, wasn't it? I think it might have been Lepinjica. He just got himself across. I'm not so sure, but it certainly flashed across the face of Joe Lewis's goal. Aberdeen, just stay vigilant. Don't be giving up a second goal. If you're not going to affect the opposition going forward, make sure you keep it as it is and arrive back at Pittodrie next week. You said it, in front of the full house. Give yourself something to play for.
Murić has found a way through. Struck Čolak, but no danger.
And it comes, I think certainly Lepinjica is involved in that. I think Župarić is involved as well. Thankfully for Aberdeen, the danger was averted. Derek McInnes potentially thinking about a substitution. Deep into the game, sometimes you think, do you settle for the 1-0, or do you think you've got enough off your bench if James Wilson, Scott Wright potentially go and get a crucial equalising goal.
Yeah, tricky one for Derek McInnes. An away goal would be priceless really at this stage, but the risk of opening up at the back. Capan and Igor Bišćan will look to make his second change. Tomečak has come off, and Raspopović is on to replace the left back. And it's Dean Campbell who's the man for Aberdeen to replace Niall McGinn. And Scott Wright too is on. Looks like it'll be a double change. John Gallagher as the other to make way. So Mr. Campbell on. Likewise, Scott Wright.
Yeah, that might just be to put an extra man in midfield as opposed to playing with the number 10 effectively. Dean Campbell just going beside Lewis, Ferguson and Ojo. That would tell you Derek is just trying to remain solid, not wanting to concede a second goal. But the introduction of Scott Wright may just bring that little bit of magic where his side can get the equaliser tonight.
More experience coming for Dean Campbell at just 18 years of age. High hopes for him in Aberdeen. There's Ojo to Campbell, and now stepping up Scott McKenna. It's away from him.
Yeah, there was question marks tonight about Scott McKenna. How would his mentality be? How would his performance be? I'm not surprised. I think he's a strong character. Very good professional, Derek said. He's had his head turned, but I think his performance tonight has been very impressive considering everything else that's gone on in the last few days surrounding him.
And Derek McInnes obviously knows him well. He'll have talked with him very closely over the last few weeks just to make sure that his head was right to go in and play this game. Kvržić, Campbell. Lepinjica wins the free kick. Hoping to break there.
And I just think when Derek McInnes sees the penalty back, where you know the crucial first goal in a two-legged tie, there'll be no defending Shea Logan, unfortunately. He'll just be hoping that his teammates can pull him out of a hole. Someone can create something tonight to get him off the hook.
Well, the onus will be on Aberdeen in the second leg to have a go at Pittodrie. They need to be defensively very solid at the same time. An away goal could ruin their chances. Hedges going all the way back there with Raspopović.
Yeah, because Igor Bišćan will have the complete opposite mindset of Derek McInnes. He'll feel if his side can get the second goal tonight, that will put them in a really strong position in the tie. They'll be more comfortable probably going to Pittodrie with a 2-0 victory. They will know Aberdeen's excellent home form under Derek McInnes. One defeat in 14 European games against Real Sociedad.
Process. 6 away wins in the 14. These campaigns under Derek McInnes. Would love to get out of Croatia this time with a draw. Cosgrove links it well for Ferguson, who invited the challenge of Raspopović, but went the long way round. Hedges now to Campbell, and Leigh forward to support the attack. Cosgrove and Logan attacking it. Well, that would have been some way to repay his error that led to the reward of the penalty kick. Župarić.
I think Lewis Ferguson is playing in that number 10 role people talk about. I quite like him in there. I've continually said it. I think his driving runs from midfield, he affects the game better higher up the pitch. I think when he sits deeper, Lewis Ferguson, he takes the ball off central defenders, sometimes goes for the World Cup pass to try and unlock defences. I prefer him up there winning the ball and being in support of Sam Cosgrove.
He's been utilised a little deeper this season. Back to Joe Lewis, so really far for look at Capan. Hedges. Chases on. Putting Lewis under pressure. Gets the locals to their feet.
There's a bigger picture of the game, Rory. You know, taking a penalty kick away from it, Aberdeen have managed the game very well. You know, they've stayed in it. They haven't given up too many opportunities. They've got a couple of flashes themselves.
They've had a better second half, haven't they? They seem to be struggling going in at the break, but when you think of the saves or the pressure that Joe Lewis has been put under, there haven't been too many moments.
Foul on Dean Campbell, Čolak, the goal scorer. But you're right, you know, Derek McInnes must have got us message across at half-time. So it's a disappointing thing is they haven't really tested the Croatians defensively. Haven't had many shots on goal themselves, but if you keep it at this scoreline, I think there's certainly enough in the second leg for Aberdeen to get excited about.
An opportunity at least to throw one into the middle. And straight into the arms of Prskalo. Good turn of pace from Lončar. Ojo trying to get back to him, and McKenna had to get enough on that. Up against Čolak. Now Scott Wright. Goal scorer in the home game against Chikura, and Cosgrove got his hat-trick. The scorer was Greg Leigh, off the mark for Aberdeen. And they eased through in that game with a 5-0 return leg. And Cosgrove hit and hope from range.
I mean, he's in good form. 27 goals in his last 33 games, but the shoot from about 40 yards is slightly ambitious from Sam Cosgrove. Probably tells you how frustrated he is tonight. He hasn't had many opportunities to add to his goal tally. He's certainly done a lot for the team.
He's scored in every game so far this season. Time running out. And Lončar, Raspopović. Did find a man in the middle. But Halilović holds his head, unable to get any purchase on the effort. Cosgrove, good battling from him. Now Wright. Fancy footwork from the youngster. Iglesias. Come on for the final 6 minutes for Rijeka. Coming off Luca Capan, who was just booked a few minutes ago. And Iglesias has an attacking intent. Something from Alaves in the summer window. Campbell. Free kick going Aberdeen's way. Referee felt he made the most of that one.
I think the last time myself and you bumped into Jane Campbell was on Glen Eagles golf course over the summer. Just like ourselves, Roy was hacking his way around the course. It's a free kick by Lewis Ferguson. I think he runs the risk of a yellow card. I think the referee actually pointed at his watch as if to say, well, you're wasting your own time.
Well, Curtis Main will get the last 5 minutes. Ryan Hedges off, so switch from Derek McInnes. And they've got two big, strong front men to try and hit, and they'll use the battering ram of Curtis Main to see if they can get some change out of the Rijeka backline. That's not the way to do it, though.
Well, we're not too sure, you know, how Župarić and Punčec can defend. They haven't had an awful lot to do tonight, the two central defenders. Prskalo, we're not too sure if he's a good goalkeeper or not. But I think, you know, by putting Curtis Main on, Aberdeen maybe just hoping for one set play, one good delivery into the box, that they can maybe get this away goal. But the delivery forward we just watched has to be better to them.
Just a second appearance for Main, signed from Motherwell in the summer. He got the last 25 minutes or so away to Rops and Rovaniemi. Travelled out to Croatia for this game, haven't had much to cheer for so far at the moment. Right now they're just thinking, don't concede a second, and that's exactly what they've done. A brilliant finish, and it could be such an important moment in this game. Robert Murić off the bench to make it 2-0 to Rijeka, and just how damaging could that be for Aberdeen?
Well, there's no doubt it's a hammer blow. He moves the ball well away from young Dean Campbell, gets it onto his favoured left foot, and Joe Lewis has got absolutely no chance. Scott McKenna has his head in his hands. He knows it's a bitter blow for Aberdeen. The penalty kick from Shea Logan that he gave away, given the advantage, but that is a touch of class. That is a bit of brilliance. I said before that his side would have been delighted, Igor Bišćan, to go to Batory with a 2-goal lead. He would have felt they will have needed a second goal, and they have got it. That's a big dent to the hopes of Aberdeen and European progression.
Third of the season for Murić. Well, that is a really important one. Remember, Rijeka, the seeded side, they haven't played any European football before this, coming straight in at the third round. 3 games into their league season, though. And that second goal is massive for them. For the next couple of minutes, Aberdeen might just have to think about gambling to try and get something.
I think they can find themselves hard done by, Roy, to be 2 goals down. Yeah, you know, they haven't carried an attacking threat, Aberdeen, tonight, but they haven't been exposed too often. It's not as if they've been continue under the cosh, with Joe Lewis making lots of saves. I think 2-0 was a little bit harsh. I think 1-0 was a truer reflection of the game. But it just shows against better opposition they have the class and the quality. And Murić pulled something out of nothing.
The next goal in the tie will really start to develop the story, because either it will be Rijeka's to run away with, really, or Aberdeen will be right back in it for the fight. But it's all for Aberdeen to do right now. 4 years ago, they had such a proud moment in this city with a 3-0 victory. It took another 2 years for Rijeka to suffer another defeat after that game on home turf, and they're making sure there won't be any slip-up this time around.
It's quite clear the tie's not over, but you know, I think it's just the timing of the goal so late in this game when they've defended well, Rangers, that Aberdeen, it becomes hard to take for them. You know, because they have stuck to their task, they have defended manfully, they've cut out the threat. But do they have something left in them? Does this side have the character, or can they show the character that we know they have?
Well, they've got plenty forward as we tiptoe into the 3 minutes of stoppage time. That's far too close to the goalkeeper, and you can see the strikers Main and Cosgrove hold their arms out. What can you do with that service?
This is the individual goal by Murić. Strong on his left foot, just opened the goal up for himself, just guided it into the bottom corner. And it's that goal that makes it hard to take for Aberdeen tonight.
Yellow card for Cosgrove. Frustrating night for the Dons. Not showing just there. Frustration coming out, but Aberdeen must know that the tie is not done at 2-0. Yes, it's an uphill task. And the first goal at Pittodrie can change all that.
You know, Rijeka aren't an unbelievable side. They're a decent, competent side. So Aberdeen just have to make sure when they arrive next week at Pittodrie, they're ready to go, they're full of energy. They have to make sure they're secure at the back and try and affect the game going forward.
And will they get one final moment, perhaps, to trouble the goalkeeper? It's hit by Ferguson. It was a decent strike, and Prskalo had to hold on to it because Curtis Main was sniffing about for any rebound.
I think that's a couple of long strikes from distance Aberdeen have had tonight. Nothing really you would call clear cut that they should have scored from.
Scoring this season certainly haven't been a problem before tonight. Main applying the pressure very well on Kvržić. Can they have one last moment that could really turn this tie around?
And they're going to have to be quick. In the last 20 seconds, we got a long throw, we got a flick on.
It's Leigh to take it. Main is there. It wouldn't quite drop for Wright. It does for Ferguson. And Aberdeen will have this corner.
Come on, surely they can create one opportunity. Can they get one of the big guys to get in the end of it? Just to reignite Aberdeen tonight and reignite for the second leg.
Scott Wright to deliver. It's towards the back post. It's well defended. And that is enough for the Spanish referee to blow his full-time whistle. It's been a bit of a revenge mission so far for Rijeka. They too will remember that night 4 years ago when they suffered a 3-0 defeat to Aberdeen. But they've come out in this second half, got the goals through a penalty from Antonio Čolak, which really was needlessly given away by Logan, and followed up with a late strike from Robert Murić. And it has given Aberdeen it all to do in the second leg next Thursday night at Pittodrie. A big night in the Granite City. And can Aberdeen turn this tie around in their favour